Hey there, it's Pete with GCI Turf. Hope you're having a great day. Apologize, I'm a little stopped up from my allergies, so I sound a little funny. But these right here are Lantana, and they are absolutely massive, and they are loaded with blooms. I planted these back around, I want to say the first part of May, mid-May, sometime around that time frame. Whenever you plant your summer annuals, you definitely want to make sure there's absolutely no chance of a frost. If you plant them too early in the spring, then you know if you get a late frost, it will zap them. So you don't want that to happen. And then for my fall flowers, I like pansies, and it's kind of direct opposite of the spring. I like to plant my pansies before the first frost while I still have a little bit of heat in the air, a little bit of heat in the ground, so they can grow, kind of root well before we get into any chance of freezing. It's super easy. I've talked to customers over the years that they just don't think they can grow anything, but this is one thing. It's pretty daggone easy, and I'll show you start to finish how I do it, and hopefully you'll see just how easy it is. So of course, first thing I need to do is get rid of the Lantana. And I know they look gorgeous. I know they absolutely look great. The whole garden of fertilizer has just really made them go crazy. But like I said earlier, I want my pansies in the ground while I still got a little heat. That way they can root and get a good jump start to the season. I mean, look at that bad boy right there. Good gracious alive. I do have to keep my eyes peeled because there's a big old black snake that's been running around here, and I don't want to grab him by mistake. Yeah, look who I found. Mr. Praying Mantis. Look at there. To my knowledge, that's a very beneficial bug. So I'm going to go over and put him back in the Laripe nice and easy. All right, so I'm back, and it's 2 days later. I have really been fighting allergies some kind of bad. I mean, they have usually don't get me this bad during the fall, but they have whooped my tail the past couple of days. So I just kind of laid low for a couple of days and figured I'd come back to this, but I'm feeling much better now. I know I still sound kind of rough, but I feel much better. So once I get my old stuff out, I like to kind of level up my area here, clean it up a little bit. It's been a little while since I added some fresh ground to this, fresh material. So I'm gonna do that today. And this is some potting mix that I got from Lowe's. For my pots, I actually like to change those out quite often. And this time I just bought a little extra to refresh my beds. Kind of help build them up a little bit, kind of raise them a little bit. Give them a little extra height. Once I do that, I'll just kind of rake it out the way I want it in the shape of the bed. I'm not a fan of square or rectangular shaped beds. Of course, sometimes, you know, they're in a location where that's all you can have, and you know that is what it is. But for the most part, I like to put some type of a shape with curves and a little character to my flower beds, and I'm not a big fan of things being boxed off and squared off. So I get it like I want it, and I come in and tamp all my edges down. Give me that nice clean look. And I'll kind of use the rake like so and kind of flatten it out. Give it a nice, neat, professional look before I go to dig holes and tear it all back up. So my choice for a fall plant is pansies. And I've gotten to where I like these Majestic Giant. You get them at Lowe's. They're $3 a pop. But they're just so much bigger from the get-go. And I've noticed they get much bigger than other pansies I bought in the past. And I'm going to throw these in there as well. These are Ornamental Kale. One thing I do like to do with these, see this yellow leaf at the bottom? I simply like to pick that off and get that yucky out of there before I plant it. It just looks better. Nice and green. This is a auger, a little miniature auger. You can get it at Lowe's. Home Depot probably has them too. Hooks right up to your drill. Makes things very easily for planting, digging holes and things like that, as long as the ground is somewhat loose. I don't think you can dig with that in some rock hard clay. It would probably mess your drill up. But it's easy for me to lay out my design. I'm gonna come about 6 inches off of the edge and outline all that first. I'm planting the plants about 6 to 8 inches apart, roughly. Now once I get my outside done, I'll come in and fill in these little corners and fill in the middle with holes, and then we're ready to lay the plants out. Now I've been thoroughly impressed with the whole gardener system. My Lantana got absolutely massive this year and an incredible amount of blooms. So I've been tickled silly with that. This is kind of a fertilizer system that, the protein guys make this. And it comes with individual NP and K, micros and humic, and it's a couple other things you can get individually. It comes with a little, like a shaker and the little measuring cups and a book. It's really cool. The book kind of tells you all different kind of plants. I mean, just tons of them, and gives you the mixtures for each. I have found with flowers, I like a 1-to-1 ratio. So for this size bed, I would go with a 1/4 cup of N, P and K, and then the phosphorus, I double it. That would be like my 1-to-1 ratio. And then I add a little humic to it as well. Usually a couple of scoops of that. And again, this is a 1/4 cup measure, so it don't take a tremendous amount. I go and put me a little micros in there as well. I've also noticed that pansies, if you give them too much nitrogen, they will get a little leggy. And I prefer a clumpy, stubby pansy plant instead of a tall, leggy pansy plant. So I got all my stuff there in my little shaker right here, and you basically shake it up good. All this stuff will be linked up in the description below if you want to check it out. And it's got like a little salt shaker lid, which is pretty cool. And it's like I'm seasoning my steak here. And just shake it on out. Put it in the holes and everywhere. I want it incorporated in the ground as good as I can. And basically I'm gonna pop them out. And some folks like to take the bottom and just rip it off. See how that's all root bound and all the roots are kind of wrapped up around there and they're not really going anywhere. So some people like to rip that part off. I found that it's not that big of a deal if you don't. They still grow. Put it in there, level it out. One thing I do like with my flower beds is the entire area loose and airy. See how easily I can stick my hand down in that in between the plants? I just want it nice and loose and as decompacted as possible. That way when we do water, when it does rain, it can, infiltrate the entire area here and you don't have any runoff or anything like that. Of course, when I do my pine needles this spring, I'll butt the pine needles and tuck them right here along the edge. That's how you get that nice clean look. Guys, don't be scared to get out there and plant your wife some flowers. Another cool thing about planting a bigger plant from the get-go, you dig less holes and it takes you less time to do it, because the bigger plant is going to obviously take up more space, and it just makes the job a little easier, I think. Now once I get done, I kind of like to go back and clean up my edges so everything's nice and neat and tidy. Kind of ramp that back just a little bit like that, and I'm gonna blow it off and clean up. And probably my favorite thing about my Ellie hose reel is I've got one hose reel and it's on the other side of the house, and I can get all the way around the house with one hose reel. I got enough hose on it to reach anywhere. And just like your turf grass, this is hands down the most important part. If it doesn't get some H2O, it's just pointless to even go for it. I probably did get them a little thick right here in the front as opposed to the back, but that's fine. In a month, this will all be covered up pretty good anyway. Usually I water my pansies 3 days a week, as long as the weather's still kind of warm. Then as it cools down and we get into winter time, once every couple of weeks is usually good. And of course, if it's raining here and there, then I really don't do any watering in the winter time. Trick is keep the ground moist. The way you keep the ground moist is you check it. All right, I'm sitting here digging, and I've digged down that's about 2 inches. And you can see that ground is dry still, so it needs more water. You can see up here at the top where it's a little bit moist and wet, and it's kind of sticking together and that kind of thing. But 2 inches deep, it's still dry. The root ball on these pansies are about 4 inches deep, so I need to water at least that deep so I can, saturate the entire root ball. For those of you that delegate things to your kiddos to teach them responsibility, this is my daughter's responsibility, is watering these flowers. If she misses a time, she has a consequence. And that is the removal of her iPhone device. It goes into my safe and becomes my possession for a while. So it's good to give your kids responsibility, and when they don't own up to that responsibility, it's good to give them a consequence, because you and I both know life is just not fair sometimes. So it's our job to teach our kids that and to learn them the best that we can. And my pots are really no different. When I do plant them, I like for the top of the root ball to kind of be pretty much level with the top of my pot. So I'll kind of work it down in there to where that's the case. And like I said, I'd always change out the dirt in my pots for the most part. It's kind of crazy. The Lantana roots, when I pulled it out, there come the dirt with it too. It was actually pretty easy to clean that out because it pulled the dirt out along with the plant. You can see I'll kind of plant these in a little triangular shape. I've got a hole back here, and I don't have what I'm going to plant back here. I want something a little bit taller, maybe some type of a little small ornamental grass plant or something like that. But I need to go by Lowe's or the nursery and find that. So I don't have the plant that's going to go right there. But I can still finish the rest of the pot. Now before I fill this up with dirt, put me just a little bit of fertilizer down in the bottom there. Then I'll backfill it. I always want to make sure I got space between the root ball and the pot, so I'm able to get some dirt in between the two. And put a little food on top. Now I'll just kind of take my fingers and kind of scratch that into the ground a little bit. And clean her up. She's good to go. Like I said, I'll come back and put my other plant right here. I actually have to get 1, 2, 3, 4 of them from my 4 pots that are sitting on my pedestal right here, column, whatever you call it. All right, so that's how I do my flowers around here. I know that y'all have seen this type video from me many times, but you know, it is what it is. Lawn care is super repetitious, extremely repetitious. So it's kind of hard to come up with new stuff to do and show and that kind of thing. So I apologize for that. Hopefully this will inspire someone to get out there and plant some flowers. And I think color around the house looks really good. I think it, you know, kind of sets you apart from your neighbors. If you've got splotches of color here and there, and I think it makes the overall look of your property better, neater, cleaner, more beautiful, you know, however you want to word that. But that's it. I'm gonna get these watered in real good, and we're going to a pumpkin patch and gonna go pumpkin hunting. And no, I don't get to take a gun and shoot them. We're actually going, although that would be pretty cool for a video. Maybe a Thanksgiving video, we'll line a bunch of pumpkins and light them up. So hey, as always, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch. I'll check you later.